Cosmic here, welcome to the channel, and today we're going to be giving a quick recap of the Japanese stream that just happened this morning. It's effectively our pre-launch stream, and while I'm not going to go over every single little detail, as you're watching this video, you're probably already familiar with things like the Prism card, so I'm going to skip small details like that, and instead just want to talk about the big hitters from the stream, in case you don't want to watch a full an hour and a half long presentation that it was. But again, I'm very excited right here off the start. We got some balance changes, so if you're excited about Chaos Zero Nightmare, don't forget to like and subscribe as it helps support the channel, and we definitely want to try to get to 1,000 subs as quickly as possible in the launch and get even more guides out there. So if you are looking forward to like the Haru Day 1 guide, you can definitely look forward to that. So again, hit subscribe. But with that out of the way, let's talk about, well, the key change that we got, because there was something right off the bat that they kind of snuck in there. But if you caught our previous 5-star recap video for the different combatants and kind of the different play styles and the teams that they work with, I complained so much about how Rinoa's like main damage dealer, like the ultimate thing that she builds up for, you can only use it once in a fight. And like, that's kind of stinky, right? If you're putting all these bullets into your deck and you only get to use like the big payoff card one time, if it doesn't kill the boss, you're kind of screwed. So they did, confirm based on what was in there that the exhaust got removed from it. It does have retain. That's what this one is. But again, for those that are unfamiliar, it deals 150 damage plus an extra amount for however many bullets you have in your hand. And then for every bullet discarded deals another 50, plus you're getting the extra damage from the bullet discarding itself. Like, this card is the nuke that she has access to. So I'm so happy that she is going to get this card in particular able to be fixed, right, for if you want to do the burst build. Now, unfortunately, I still think that her zero cost bullet spam is going to be the better option, just because there's so much more you can do as zero cost cards in the game, and also just draws and replaces themselves, which is really good. So I'll have to wait and see if I pull her. I'm very excited. But with that out of the way, let's dive in. And yes, Haru is the first confirmed limited character. And we're going to talk about her play kit a little bit, at least what they showed off in the stream. I'm going to play that video later. But this is kind of what we all expected. The one thing I will say that's extra nice about this is that from 4-star combatants, we have Mika and Beryl. And Mika, of course, is going to be our insane healer. We're always happy to get extra copies of this unit if you are someone who is going to be rolling on this. Now, again, I will add my obligatory disclaimer here. Just how every gacha under the sun works, right? We would call this a bait banner, because when we get season 1, they will most likely introduce a character that is on element for whatever that seasonal boss is. And if everything lines up the way that we know it's going to be Yuki, which is order or green, instead of Haru, who is justice and blue. So we'll have to wait and see exactly how that all goes down. I'm going to be pulling on this, like I said, day 1 and doing some guides for it and all that stuff, but we'll have to wait and see how her kit is overall once we get into the game, do some chaos runs and all that stuff. But for this one, I am very excited. There is, of course, a signature partner that goes with her. I didn't see any information in the stream itself, so this will be something we do later tonight at the time of this recording, when the game goes live, once we can see the banner, check it out in person, all that good stuff. So not much more to say there, right? Because if you're pulling on this, you don't need me to tell you about what's going on with the partner banners. The only people who are ever pulling on these are, the rare case, it is just your favorite card. You want to max it out. It is your favorite, or I should say, instead of weapon, but, partner and combatant combination, you max them out. That's like the one character you go all in for, right? But generally speaking, this is going to be reserved for whales and beyond what I'm going to be doing and pulling for right now. This is not even me territory. So this is largely a skip for me, but again, nice to see that the partners were confirmed. Now, the one thing I am super excited about, and we call this a spark in Grand Blue Fantasy, right? Call it whatever you want in other games. Genshin did not do it first, sorry. But they did confirm that after 300 rescues, we will get a selector. Now, unfortunately, they didn't say if this is a one-time thing or just a permanent thing, because we know we will be getting more standard-based pulls, right, as the game goes on. Pull information a little bit later in the video. But I really hope that this is something that they leave and not just a one-time deal, because one, we know that egos are going to be important, or dupes are going to be important down the road at some level, because they are going to give us universal dupes as a seasonal thing that we can earn. So naturally, in the dev video, they mentioned they're reworking egos, and I assume this means that they're going to rework them into E1 and E2 being important. Again, not confirmed. I am assuming here a little bit, so do take that with a grain of salt. But with this, the most important thing to call out is actually not the dupes, but the fact that you can pick a character that you do not have. For how Chaos Zero Nightmare is designed, you do want to have as many 5 stars on your account as possible, just to have as many situational coverage as you might need, right? Cassius being a support that is flexible if you want to go for a multi-draw or all-in strategy versus bringing in something like a Shielder for just a little bit more sustain to keep you, healthy against a multi-attack or maybe high damage boss. Things like that matter, and we'll have to see how endgame bosses are designed. But ultimately, I think this is just a really nice, small thing for them to add because it's going to help our accounts later on in the long run, right? Veronica here too is also really interesting just because she does seem to be just such a good support DPS for us with her extra draw and all that stuff. So we'll wait and see where that lines up. But ultimately for this, I would recommend picking whatever is like your main missing piece and not necessarily going for your dupe, because again, we will be able to get resources that are used to count towards a dupe of any character with seasonal content. As of right now, there's nothing that's like a get a free 5-star that you need other than this selector that we get access to. So I'm very happy to see that they added a spark, and 300 is a little high, but we did see, I think it was Genshin, it was like 2 months in is when you finally got that, or like I think it was like 6 weeks actually, so not full 2 months now that I think about it. So we'll have to wait and see, but again, very excited that I will get to pick whatever I'm missing on. Same thing is that with the partner rescue was also confirmed that 70 times you're always going to get a 5-star with it. Again, don't want to spend too much time on partners until we know. I haven't done a deep dive on them personally, so I'm not going to give any strong recommendations or anything like that, but know that there is going to be a permanent banner that they also talked about. Same thing, it is going to be 70 and you get a 5-star. For those that are interested about Haru, here's just a little bit more information about her character card breakdown. All of this is Google Translate, so take it with a huge grain of salt, but I just want to have it, English on stream for those who want to see it. So I guess I can get my head out of the way really quick. I'll just lean that. So there, now you can see all of the text without my big old head blocking it. And again, here were the Prism cards that they did mention. So we will get, I know I said I wouldn't cover these in much detail, but I just wanted to call out that Haru did get her preview as well, but this is something that you're not really going to get to enjoy until you see it in-game personally and how this changes. So not much more to say here. And again, this is all Google Translate for these skills, so I didn't want to go into that amount. But what was really cool about Haru in particular, and I really hope the devs do this, is that they gave a full breakdown in terms of like, how do they play, right? Obviously, we have like the combat motion video, which is also out, which shows, well, the combat motion, how our skills look in game and all that stuff, which is really nice. But also having more of like a detailed breakdown. Like we haven't really seen this for the other characters yet. Like there's nothing out there other than what content creators have worked on that really say like, oh, Hugo is really great for building up stacks and spending them with skills, right? We just have the preview of showing off their animations, which is fine to a degree, but you want to have both. So I was really happy that they did break down Haru's kit, which at a very high level is all about her anchor shot, which you're going to try to loop back multiple times as much as you can to ramp up its damage and just do an absolute nuke on whatever enemy that you are facing. And going one step beyond that is that they also brought up that we will have different, team synergy, team comps you can really go with. And, if you're in the Discord, I really like the Cassius build because Cassius is for the more greedy, want to always use their cards style of character. So like Cassius and Rin is a very good combo. Cassius and Haru, Cassius and Kayron, all those characters are really like, we have to see our key cards. We always want to find them. So by using things like Joker, which lets you select a card out of your deck, or if you have the upgrade, lets you select it out of your graveyard as well. Things like Shuffle, if you just hit a bad hand, discards your whole hand, draw that many. Like Cassius is just the god of card selection. So for something that is as focused in one card as Haru, like she literally has Joker for anchor shot in her deck, I think still Cassius is the way to go. Nia's interesting. Like I get the theory behind it, and because Nia helps to thin out your deck, she gets you the extra attack cards when you really want them. But the thing that's missing here is like this is a very burst heavy team and not really a sustain. So I'd be curious, if you put a shielder here, just give yourself a little bit more wiggle room and health, or if you just have Mika again for the AP generation, which is really important. Now they mentioned Celestial, which is Tenjo here for Kalipe. I'm very curious. So if the fact that the devs are putting this as a recommendation leads me to believe that Celestial is not as nerfed as we previously thought as 10 hours ago that it might be based on how her other cards were changing. So this leads me to believe that while Kalipe will not be able to trigger Celestial as frequently as by herself, right? As we saw previously, because we know that Greatsword is getting nerfed down to one, well, nerfed or buffed, however you want to look at it, right? But nerfed in the sense that it no longer works with her kit because it's only a 1 AP cost. Haru, on the other hand, has a 2-cost card that we can loop back, so we're more likely to trigger Celestial, and we always want to be playing it. So in this particular build, it's really interesting that Kalipe really takes more of a all-in passive style of unit. Like, she really plays like Orlea in that regard. You're just trying to find as many Celestial cards to jam into your deck as possible, because when you use Anchor Shot from Haru, you're going to get to play that card for free based on the effect. So I'm actually more interested in a combination of these two than either like playing one of these all out by itself. And then, of course, the mono teams, right? We talked about tenacity breaking. So when you are all one element and you're having that, element weakness, or advantage, I should say in this case, when you break their tenacity, you are going to get an action point back, which is really important for Haru's high cost. You are going to heal some stress, which is also really nice, and also increase the enemy's action timer, meaning you can play a couple more cards before they do their attack, their skill, what have you. So breaking bars will likely be very important once we get to the seasonal content, but we have to wait a little bit to see more about that. So mono teams might be important in the future, but at least for the limited playtest, didn't really matter all that much. Now, they also mentioned about Trauma Code, which is one of the endgame activities that I shouldn't say endgame, but mid-game activities that we've seen that you'll eventually unlock that goes into the deep and dark story for each of the characters. And you'll notice that they also have battles in them, which they did showcase a little bit. So before we get into the big pulls, and I will just let this play in the background, the devs did showcase a little bit of her kit. Also, I love the environment background here. It's very rare that we got to see any like bright backgrounds during the limited playtest. So to see the difference in environmental design is very, very nice to see. But here is just a quick preview of Haru and going through her card selections, going through her, different team builds. But this is in Trauma Code. So it does say, well, you have to use Haru, as you might expect, because she is the main character for these stories. But just getting to see her Anchor Shot, getting to see some of the animations come together, see how the AoE effect is going to go into the following turn, showcasing where Mika is really great for her healing and the extra AP that you're going to be getting. So really going into the overall showcase of her animations being very, very nice. So I think for most players, so if you're getting Haru day one, maybe the thing that I'll add here is that from a overall easy to play standpoint, I would very strongly recommend starting with Mika, because Haru's deck is going to be quite expensive for what you want to be doing. And if you're not at the point yet where you're able to refine the deck, go through the perfect card selection, right? We don't have the later difficulties of Chaos unlocked to really go through multiple floors to get all the epiphanies we want, get all the deck thinning that we want, while maybe finding that 1 or 2 neutral card that really amps up our strategy. You really just want something that is going to be easy to play and not hold you up on certain turns, where if you were to try to do, like, for example, let's say you high roll the Kalipe into the Haru design, for new players, that can be a little bit difficult to play early on if you don't have the Celestial tag built up, and that can be a very frustrating experience. So for me personally, I would definitely recommend Haru, Mika for, again, having the AP generation with it. And then if you roll Cassius and you want to have a little fun with it, maybe you want to test your luck a little bit, go with Cassius for the extra drawing and the extra filtering with Joker and things of that nature. But otherwise, probably going to want something like a Shielder if you get Maribel, or even Owen, because Owen can be built as both a Shielder when you really need it. Owen is a really great target for this team, or as they showcase in the second Haru preview, is that Owen's wind charge ability, when you have the extra action points thanks to Mika, you can double up on Anchor Shot and just do 2 huge back-to-back nukes with Haru's Anchor Shot and just build up that damage even more, right? So I'm probably going to try and do a Owen, Mika, and Haru team as well, because I assume that there's going to be some Haru enjoyers out there who maybe didn't get other stuff. So it's like, where do you build that team? How does Owen change from more of a damage dealing priority to someone who's more of a support role, which again, he absolutely can be built based on his epiphanies. And again, I think Owen really gets slept on a little bit because he's just not exciting of a character, which I totally understand. But from a kit perspective, Owen slaps. Like, I really got to stress that. He can be your main damage dealer. He can be a defensive support with some utility for attacks. Like, yes, you'll have to build him very different ways depending on how you want to use him in your team comps. But I mean, that's kind of the entire point of the game, right? Get your different save data for your different characters, making sure that they work for your teams the way that they need to, and ultimately min-max your teams to get that huge payoff that you're looking for. In this case, just being with Haru and getting all the extra damage effects. Again, here being more defensive with Magna, which is really cool. And then otherwise, Mika just being, again, MVP, giving us extra action points and allows us to kind of bring it all together. But the last card here I want to just talk about is her retrieval card. I'm pretty sure that they play it. This is the card that was like Joker for Cassius that allows us to get the card back, which is really important. So you are going to be having these turns where Haru becomes your main focus of, I want to draw all her cards, let her be the key focus for the turn. And if I don't need to heal up or anything, then, well, it's totally fine. So again, there was some more slight changes in here. It looks like they're just going to go for the AoE nuke instead of looping back the other card. But again, huge damage potential. Very excited to see that Haru, namely here, is both a single target massive damage dealer, but then also for how her kit works, can then as well do massive AoE damage, which is so cool to see in a kid, right? I've been hyping up Mei Lin because I do think that she's going to be a really great boss killer, but the downside of Mei Lin is that she only does single target. So if we get into these more AoE focused fights, she can be very weak, where Haru slams down with her kit and has that versatility that ultimately you would probably want in a kit, much like Kayron, who can be built as a all-in AoE focus or a all-in single target focus. Haru looks to play a very nice role. Now, again, different topic, different video. We'll get into her kit and all that good stuff. But other than that, let's get back to the polls. So yes, it is real. They did confirm 200 polls, but finally we got the breakdown of 155 standard polls and 45 limited banner polls. Now, again, this does say raise your account level, login bonuses. I really wish they would have given us more information, but at least, you know, with standard, and because we got the 300 selector, or I should say 300 poll selector announcement, honestly, I'm fine with this. And people who want to save for whatever their favorite characters are, you can still save for the limited rate ups. You know, a lot of people are skipping Haru because they also believe that the season 1 first character banner will be better, but that's not all. We also have some additional goodies that they were talking about. Now, of course, everybody knows that we get a mirror for free for the pre-reg, but we're also getting an additional 800 crystals. So we'll have to wait and see what all that they give us for login, but we are very close to being able to finish the beginner banner within the first 2 days. So we know that this is launching, halfway through effectively from the server reset. So within the first 24 hours, assuming that you go through the daily reset, we will be able to finish the beginner banner, get our 5-star, and be able to continue on our journey, which is also really cool to see. So hopefully we'll get the additional pulls where we don't have to use the last little bit of crystals, right? But if you really want to, you can't wait to get that 5-star unit from the beginner banner, then go all in, you'll be able to get the pulls and be fine. Now, again, full disclaimer, wait for the standard pulls as we get them, but at least for crystal resources, it is very nice to see. And then the last couple things I wanted to mention is that they did confirm a HoloLive VTuber collab. So a ton of people will be streaming Chaos Zero Nightmare at launch. It was like over 40 in total VTubers. So there is a huge marketing campaign going on, which is, again, the game needs marketing, so happy to see them go this route. I'm very neutral on HoloLive. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I have friends who are really excited. Like, I know this is LaPlus on the last side. I do not know who these other 3 are off the top of my head, but I know this is something that a lot of people are going to be excited about and get some more eyes on the game, which is kind of everything we had asked for. Now, the very last thing is, like, literally right before I pressed record, is that they also dropped this developer letter, which was really nice to see, going into the more details of like, hey, we heard your feedback. We want to bring more meaningful story. We want to bring deeper and more interesting, compelling stories. Oh, by the way, here's some free crystals, as well. So, well, again, we'll have to wait and see later tonight, log in, see what all the day 1 rewards are and where that lines us up for how many standard pulls we're getting and all that good stuff. But we are looking to be at a very fun start for Chaos Zero Nightmare, which I am so excited for, and to not get too much in the weeds about the other gacha drama going on, but as long as we don't see any changes to the poll currency, which given E7's history and Super Crave and everything they've been doing, I don't expect them to try to pull a fast one at all. So I think that we are looking at a very, very fun launch, and I cannot wait to see everything that they are cooking up for this game. Again, I just love the darker themes and the darker enemy design that they've been doing. So for me personally, I really do hope that the trauma code delivers, because I know that's one thing they really hyped up in the previous dev video that I covered, but I do want to see more. I want to see people having consequences and dying and being removed from the story, getting knocked out. Like, I want to have weight to some of these story, right? And how these characters are progressing, right? I really hope that they nail that in the trauma code, but this is something that remains to be seen. So with that, we are just hours away at this point after waiting so long, and I, again, am so excited. I will be streaming this on Twitch and YouTube later tonight when it goes live, going through our polls. Again, we are doing a no reroll account. We are diving right in. We're trying to get to endgame, and we are excited to get started and see what this game has to offer. So with that, my friends, good luck on your rerolls if you are going through the process. I hope you get your 5-star that you really want early on. You're not stuck rerolling for days like I know it can take sometimes. So other than that, please make sure to take care of yourselves, drink some water, stretch your legs, all that good stuff. But until the next Chaos Zero Nightmare video, my friends, stay safe, stay hydrated, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.